Hello, good afternoon, almost evening in my neck of the woods. How are you? Whoa, that just threw me off. I'm so used to saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and then I didn't say it, and now I'm all like, whoa, that's cuckoo. I'm all out of sorts now. And I'm in a different spot, different view, a beautiful view, by the way. You know, for what Oregon lacks in politics, it makes up in beauty. That is for sure. Ooh, I almost wanted to say for shizzle. I had to bite my tongue. It just sounded fun. For shizzle, my rizzle. That's just fun to say. I'm sorry. Just like I still say rad. Love the word rad. I think it's rad. Anyway, hello. Good morning, afternoon, and evening to you. Thank you so very, very much for tuning in. While I still do not have my intro and outro. To those of you who are just tuning in, I used to have a pretty snazzy introduction and outro to my podcast. My son made it for me, and it was pretty groovy. Oh, groovy. That's another word I love. I say groovy and rad a lot. Probably too much because they're groovy and rad words. But we should bring back for shizzle just because it's fun. It sounds dumb, but it's fun to say. Say it. Say it right now. Everybody ready? For shizzle, my rizzle. It's just fun. Wasn't that fun? Anyway, so today is Sunday. I was on my way to church, and people are like, what? Church? Because I go to a friend's house. We meet up at her place, her and her husband. And my older son, got me, well, not just my family, got me a Bible, a beautiful Bible, one with large print, by the way, which is fantastic. But it cracks me up because it's large print. It's pretty big, but it's really beautiful. And I actually started from scratch and decided to start over and read Genesis. So I read that before I went out to church, and it is my friend's birthday today. So they fed us. Not only did they feed us, but they fed us the most amazing food. We got ribeye steaks. We got king crab, baked potatoes, salad. We had like everything. And so it's his birthday and he blessed us. I mean, man, you can't really get much better than that, right? All right, so I have been doing a lot of very cranky, podcasts, and I don't want to do that today, especially because it's Sunday, and I want to be about positivity. And I did a video wishing everybody positivity, and I got a lot of slack for it. People got on there and said, what an insane thing to do. And I thought, wow, how is it insane to want to be... Because I was telling people, hey, try to feel blessed and fortunate and thankful and grateful, even if it just means, even if you woke up and you were able to open your eyes and take another breath, let's be fortunate and try to be grateful for that. And people wanted to think that was a bad message. And that's okay. That's their choice. I'm going to choose, though, to wake up and say, wow, I'm so, so happy and so thankful that I have my sons and my grandkids, and I have my family, and I have my son's girlfriend, who I consider my family. And I have a family, put it that way. And my family is safe and healthy. And I am safe and healthy. And I have so many people out there that have supported me and helped me when I really need it. People that have come out of nowhere. And so for all the bad things and all the things I've gone through, I've also been so fortunate to have things work out and people help me. And so I'm trying my best to not get on this podcast and be cranky every day and be, on here yelling and ranting and raving, because no one wants to listen to a podcast where I'm just always negative. Where I'm just always in a bad mood and I'm always talking about grr. But at the same time, I can't help it because sometimes stuff happens in the world that makes you upset. Goodness, I almost just ate it. Whew. I'm trying to walk a dog out in a very muddy area and talk on this phone in shoes that are really not meant to be doing this. And oh boy. Anyway, so I'm trying to stay up on current events, and I think I have a right to be upset over what's going on in the world, but I also don't want that podcast to just always be negative, and I don't want to dwell on it. I want to keep myself informed. I want to keep myself educated. I don't want to bury my head. But I also don't want to just have a podcast that I'm screaming and yelling and getting angry, I'm just such a mother. I'm such a mama bear. I do not like seeing people suffer. I don't like seeing people get bullied. I am very mother bear. I am mother bear times 100. I really have always been that way. I don't like bullies. I don't like seeing people being picked on and people being unalived, obviously, or bullied or beat up, because of their beliefs. And so it just gets me extra fired up. And so anyway, point is, I'm trying to focus on what I can control. I'm trying to focus on the good. I'm trying to stay informed, but also not get wrapped up. So right now I'm next to a water. Can you guys hear this? Listen. Pretty beautiful. So I'm focusing on that and this wonderful dog that I am walking. Focus on the fact that I have so many people surrounding me that are just beautiful, wonderful people in my life. I'm so thankful that I'm no longer working at places that I was, just in the sense that I miss the customers so much, but I get to still see them. So I love that I still get to see them, because it's not like, since I'm not working there anymore, I can no longer see them. I get to see them either because they're now customers of mine, and now they're coming to me, or because I see them because I'm, still friends with them. And they check in on me, I check in with them. And so it means the world to me, because I thought, man, I'm not going to want to go without seeing people that have been part of my life for such a huge chunk of time, and I got used to the dogs and stuff, and I got used to their family and who I knew everything about their lives. I knew what was going on. And so I love that I still get to see them. I love that I still get to care for them. And that I feel fortunate for, because that was kind of a big bummer. So I'm grateful for that. And just living in a state, like I said, that although the politics aren't great, she's beautiful. Oregon is pretty darn beautiful. We've got the valleys, we've got the deserts, we've got the forests, we've got the ocean. We have a little bit of everything. And so anyways, I'm sorry that my podcasts have been pretty angry and aggro, and I feel like I'm roiding out or something. But again, it's kind of hard not to get fired up when you see people being shamed and beat up and fired and censored and sometimes unalived when they're innocent, when they aren't doing anything but wearing a shirt that someone doesn't like, or has a religion someone doesn't like. And it's just sad, because that kind of stuff obviously is going to get anybody fired up. Anybody with a heart is going to be bothered, But, so I'm not doing that today. Today there's an airplane that is deciding, hello, this is what I get again for doing it on my phone. But today I am focusing on support, on how it's strange. I was headed out to church and thinking, man, I don't know exactly what path to take. I've been really fortunate to be making money and having people come to me and use my services, and is this really the path I want to take, or which direction do I want to go? Because there's so many different ways I can go. I feel lost. I feel like I don't have a purpose, and I'm glad that I have a job. I'm glad that I'm, fortunate to be working and to be able to pay my bills and all of that. But I'm like, and I know I want to work with animals, and I'm glad that I'm still doing it. I'm glad that I'm still able to to have my customers and care for their animals and stuff. But I am like, now I still really want to do I want to do a rescue? Do I want to open up my own kennel, or am I continuing to just, watch dogs in their home? Am I continuing to do it that way, where I just go to people's homes like I've been doing? Or which direction, and what should I do with this thing, and what should I do about that? And I just had questions. And I was having a conversation with God on the way to church, and I was like, I just don't know what direction to go. And then I get there, and we're talking, and we start discussing direction. And anyway, the conversation just led to where I was like, wow. And he just mentioned a bunch of stuff that I was talking about yesterday. I had a conversation with a friend yesterday that was identical to what we ended up talking about today. And I just went, okay, that's crazy. Wow. And I ended up staying there, and we ended up staying and eating and just sitting around the table and talking and just really enjoying each other's conversation and laughing, just really laughing. And I thought, man, this is where it's at. Sitting around a table, like my kids and I used to actually sit at the table and eat, and we had one day a week, it was Wednesdays, we didn't watch TV, we did not have our phones, and we played games. We would play board games, or we'd play games on the Wii. But we were together, and we always sat around the table, and it was so wonderful. We got along, and we laughed. And, I watched shows like Duck Dynasty, where they sit as a family, and they all sit as a family, and they talk. And it's just a time where you can catch up on what your kids are doing, catch up on what everyone's doing, and just have that time, because you don't know how long you're going to have each other. You don't know how long you're going to have that time. And man, do you miss it when it's gone? Because I miss my mom. We had our struggles, we did, but God, I miss her. I miss my dad, I miss my grandparents, I miss everybody. I miss those that I don't want to look back and go, gosh, I wish I had more time. I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Because I have a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas, and I have too many shoulda, woulda, couldas. And those carry a lot of weight, Because of those shoulda, woulda, couldas, I have a lot of PTSD, and I have a lot of stress and sadness, and those weigh on you. And so if you have that time with your family where you can just connect, there's been so many studies shown that it's so good for you, But those shoulda, woulda, couldas just can really sneak up on you, and you don't want to not have time with your family, and then one day they're gone, and you're like, man, if I have those dinners, what a time to actually just, when you make time for each other, sure, at first maybe you're like, ugh. Anytime we're doing something, like, no matter how much I love my friends, there's times that they want to go out, or if they want to go do something, and at first I'm like, oh man, I just want to stay home. I'm such a homebody. I'm such an introvert. I don't like going out, but I love my friends. And then I end up going, and I have a good time. And I'm so thankful that I went. And then I also know, hey, if something were to happen to them, I know that I spent time with them, and I don't have that shoulda, woulda, coulda moment. I don't like those. And so with your family, maybe you don't want to have dinner together, but what if, I hate to sound cheesy and I hate to sound like a cliche, but what if you don't get another one, And so I'm trying to remember why I started this podcast, because no elderly person or no one should have to die alone, and no one should have to give up their home to be able to be taken care of. No one should have to sell their home that they've already paid taxes on, that they already own, just so they don't die, just so they can be cared for. And no family member should have to be like, oh man, I can't take my parent in. There's no way I can take my parent in. So what? They have to choose between that and giving up their family home or what? That's just a terrible, terrible thing. And COVID was such a hot mess that I'm not going to get into today, because like I said, I don't want to turn it into one of those podcasts, But I don't claim to be a Christian, and I'm not claiming to be perfect. Lord knows I'm not. In fact, I've said the opposite. I have a lot of work, and I know I mess up. And I sound on my podcast like I'm this, crazy unhinged person. It just makes me so frustrated when people are bullying others and unaliving others and censoring others and taking away things. People shouldn't have to be fearful to wear a shirt that says they love Jesus. That shouldn't be something that people should be scared of and be bullied over. You should just walk on if you don't like it. You should close your eyes if you don't like it. You should move on, right? But nobody should have to live in fear over wearing a shirt. And I mean that for anybody. I mean transgender people. Again, I've said this over and over and over again. I could not care less if you're transgender or gay, black, red, what color you are, what you wear, what religion you are. I don't care if you're a liberal. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I care when you make it my business by forcing things upon me. Then I care. Just the same way you would care if I did that to you. It is a two-way street. And there are certain people that like to pretend, well, how dare you care if I force things on you? Oh, you mean kind of like the way you care if something's forced upon you? It goes both ways. So, yes, I have podcasts in which I am fired up. And I have podcasts in which I'm crying. And I have podcasts in which I'm happy. And, you get everything. Or I'm panting like I am now. You would think with how much I walk, I am in shape, but lately I'm like winded. Plus it's cold. But it's just frustrating because I frustrate myself because I always think I'm not going to like a certain situation, and I get there and I love it. And I'm like, man, I need to do more of that. And it's frustrating because I pass up opportunities because I'm nervous, or I pass up opportunities because I'm such an introvert and I get so shy and I'm missing out on a lot. I don't really pass up things when I'm scared. I don't get necessarily scared of stuff. I'm pretty, things don't really scare me. So I pass up things more out of nerves, as in like anxiety. And so I've got to start taking more chances and start getting out there. And man, I'll eat anything. I'll go on an excursion. I'll go to any country. I'll try things out like that. But I don't like getting out of my comfort zone over being around people and staying at their home and eating like I did today. But man, it was fun. It was so fun. And we laughed and we had good conversation, and it just felt good and it felt comfortable and peaceful. It's nice. It's nice to have a support system, And right now, we could all use that. All of us can use support, right? We can all use that support system, Banding together and uniting is so much better than fighting, than segregating, than war, obviously. I wish right now we could all get on that mindset. I know it isn't easy because I have my things I'm passionate about. I'm not going to give up. I just wish we would come to a point that we could discuss it, that we could have conversation. I wish we could all sit over dinner and have conversation, Whatever happened to that? Just having the conversation, being able to agree to disagree, and it's just so violent now, and it makes my heart sad. And so I'm going to do my best just to do my best, to be as kind as I can be, to give as much grace as I can, and work on myself. But I hope everybody, I hope we come to a point where we're united again. I don't see that happening, unfortunately, in the future. We're just so torn, and I don't see us healing soon. And I am just going to keep hanging around the people that make me laugh, being around my family, and working on myself, But you know what you guys could do? You could listen to my podcast. That could be something. You could tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell an acquaintance. Be like, hey, check her out. 1 minute, she's an unhinged, bat, banana, crazy person. And the next minute, she's laughing. The next minute, she's crying. She's all over the place. But somehow, it works. You can check me out on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, which I'm still going to call Twitter. Check me out. Give me a follow. Like and subscribe and all of that whatnot and what have you and so forth and such and whatnot. But I just basically wanted to do a quick little podcast to say, hey, let's all try to have dinner together again, sit down, or let's all try to talk face to face once in a while, no matter how uncomfortable it is. We've all gotten used to our cell phones and texting, but it is kind of nice when you can also talk to someone face to face and see their expression, have bodily contact. I know it's weird. I don't like it either. But it ends up not being so bad. Humans aren't so terrible. The news and everybody, including myself, want to look at the negative, and I get caught up in it too. But I have had so many amazing people in my life, and strangers, absolute strangers, help me out in a huge way. I have actually been less disappointed in humans, than you would think. There's a lot of humans out there doing disappointing things and saying and doing disappointing things. But man, there's a lot more out there doing a heck of a lot of good and trying. So that's what this podcast is for. So those of you that are out there trying, and no matter what life just keeps throwing at them, they're like, I'm just going to be the best me, I'm going to do me, Scotty P. So you do you. And don't let all those other people in. Right now, we really have to be united as family. Family now more than ever, and friends and support now more than ever. Like-minded people now more than ever. It's important, It's very important now more than ever. And it's certainly, if you are religious, it's now more than ever, it's important to hold on to that religion and really share that religion, because that's probably what the world needs more of. Needs more light, less darkness, more light, and to let God in, So maybe that's what we're trying to do, is maybe we're trying to get that. I encourage that though, if that's what you believe. Of course, if you don't, then let nature in, let music in, let workouts in, let your family in, whatever it is that makes you a better you, let whatever your hobby is. But family and support, that's so important right now. And we really need to hold on to that now more than ever. So, and this podcast, that'll help you. So, hey, thank you to everybody out there who's been checking me out. Again, if you're new to this podcast, listen to my earlier ones where I had an intro and an outro. It just gave it a little extra snazz. Again, just so you know, it's not going to get a whole heck of a lot better than this. It's always, you're going to hear water, like right now. There's a creek in the background here. Ready? Oh, isn't that lovely? Anyway, isn't it lovely? All right, anyway. So you hear that, me just babbling. It's exactly what it says, man. Ramblings of an Insomniac. It's in the title. Can't be surprised, right? Hey, you rock. Cheers to everybody out there trying and kicking butt doing so. You guys rock. You got this. Remember, one day at a time, one step at a time. Control what you can. Let go of the rest. Remember to take a breath in and let it out, and keep your family close. Until next time.